Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video we're going to take a look at a Sprinter Mercedes, and check engine light is on, but it's got a number of other issues as well. So what we're doing here is, once you select Sprinter, then you can do Smart VIN and it'll detect the correct chassis in here, or you can manually enter it. But then you go to a quick scan, and then what this does is goes through the whole system, and then it'll tell you what systems have codes. So you can see the motor electronic has codes, air conditioning has codes. A lot of these systems have codes. You can click on the drop down arrow here to look at the actual codes, and you can enter that control module if you want to look at live data. So if you can enter the engine control unit, or you can enter the transmission and look at some live data and things of that nature. Now, one question we get a lot with these Sprinters is because they might have issues, for example, with the DEF system or DPF filter or things of that nature. There's going to be a code in one of these control modules, and what that's going to do is going to trigger that code, and it's going to start a counter for X number of the diagnostic scanner is turning on as it's testing the radio, so it's turning that on automatically. But what's that going to do is, there's issues with DPF on the diesel cleaning side of the engine, then it's going to start a counter, and it's going to say X, 10 or 20 starts remaining. And if you come into the engine electronic system, or here you can see this is the the 642 engine, which is basically one of the most common engines used on these printers. You can see here, for example, you have a current codes, and you can see what's causing it. You have these other codes that are stored; those will clear, but the one that's current is not going to clear. So you have to fix that issue, and then you can hit clear on those codes. You keep coming down here. You're going to look at that engine control unit. You also want to look at this selective catalytic reduction system. Also look and see what codes you have in there. If you got any codes that are current in there, those need to be addressed as well. On a car like this, on a vehicle like this where you have a lot of full codes, what we recommend doing is saving the report first so you can have it for future reference, and then hit erase. So the scanner is going to go through all the systems and is going to erase any codes that it can. So basically anything that's stored, that means it's not a current issue, is going to clear. Codes that are current, those are not going to clear, and those are things that you need to address. And sometimes you might have to drive the vehicle a couple of times for these codes to come back up, but then you'll have narrowed down. You're going to have the actual codes you need to address, because sometimes the codes that you see here, that could have been from a year ago, the car detected an issue one time and it wasn't really an issue, and it just stores it as a code. So it can be confusing when you have so many codes on a vehicle. So clear the codes and drive the car a little bit, and then you come back in here and run another full scan, and that's going to give you an idea of what's going on. Now once this is done, we can dive into a couple of these control modules and look further into that data. So let's give it a second. So the clearing is complete. Let's go to the engine control unit. You can look at live data here, all actual values here at the bottom, and you can see so much data in here. With the engine running at idle, for example, you have this data here: boost pressure, fuel pressure, and exhaust back pressure, and things of that nature. Fuel system, you can see that data in there. So there's a lot of data which we don't have the time to go through all of them, but if you're doing troubleshooting, especially if you got issues with the diesel particulate filter, that can be handy. And Again, the other system that you would want to look at is control unit 9, selective callus reduction, live data. Got a couple of things that you can, the AdBlue delivery pump pressure in here, that's important as well. And yeah, this can be very helpful if you're trying to troubleshoot a Mercedes diesel Sprinter. Now this engine is also found on also like ML350 BlueTech and GL350 BlueTech, and it's pretty common engine for Mercedes. It's found in a lot of models. So yeah, thank you for watching YOUCANIC, where you can be the mechanic.